Go, 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 let's get it. I'm a trapping fanatic, that shit automatic, so I cannot turn it on or off. Bitches all on my dick, then she hop on my dick, I'm like, why you keep hopping on and off? Your bitch all on my dick, she be doing the most, I tell her, little bitch, she so extra. And my gun up on me, but not run up on me, niggas, they wanna fight, they some wrestlers.
Congratulations, you unpolished gems. My data has stated that you all should be the best strikers of Japan that are under 18. Still, all of you are useless as of now to the goal that I was hired to accomplish. My name is Jinpachi Ego, and I was hired in order for Japan to win a World Cup. Here in the Blue Lock facility, one of you very strikers standing in this room will rise up and claim victory for our nation. The words of the man echoed throughout the room until another was heard. A slightly taller teen walked forward and began talking. So, I was invited here at the chance to be trained and become the best in the world. Jinpachi Ego, I want you to be the one to hear my declaration. Japan will be led to their next World Cup by the goals that I score alone. This caused Ego to grin from ear to ear with excitement, as this statement caused many others to decide to join Blue Lock as well. Ego's assistant would ask who that boy was with the dark hair and colored eyes. In time it soon shall be revealed. Just know, he is of the top 100 that we invited here. The next day soon arrives as Yoichi Isagi gets his uniform with his number on it. He looks at it and scoffs. I'd like to change my rank. The woman in front of him tells him that that won't be possible just yet, but he smirks. I'd like for it to go down. This shocks her, and Ego then calls Isagi into his office, as later he walks in to Team Z in the rank 300. This shocks the rest of the people since they remember how he spoke out against everything in the room with everyone, declaring he'd become the best. But here he is, at the bottom of the bottom. They try to speak to him, but he ignores each one of them. Kira then speaks up through the chatter. How are you here? You destroyed my team and the championship for our schools. Isagi then turns to him and looks away. I don't care to explain myself to you. That's okay, because I'll be doing it for you. Ego pops up on the television screen, waving to them. Yoichi Isagi is a special case here in Blue Lock. He was ranked much higher than the rest of you unpolished gems, but he made a deal with me. There's only one true way to prove that he's the best, and that's by defeating the rest of the strikers in this facility, even if that means he has to start at the lowest rank. Kunigami then asked what his rank was before he dropped down all the way to 300. Well, let me think. Based on the data that I remembered, he was in the top 100 range, but even that might have not suit him. At the highest, he would most likely start in the top 25. But forget that. There are too many of you in this room, so let's play a simple game of tag. Whoever is it, by the time runs out, will go home. The ball then lands in front of Isagi. He stands with it under his feet, with no expression on his face. Tell me, what do each of you want to become from this? It won't be the best striker, because in the end, that will be me. Yoichi shouts out that he'll become the best no matter what, and the ball hits him in the stomach. Technically, he was it, but the ball was stolen from him by Isagi. Pathetic. He then turns to Chigiri, who would begin to dash away. Sorry, but you can't catch me. My weapon is speed. He tries to outrun Isagi. However, our protagonist nails him in the back with the ball and continues to do so for a little bit until Kunigami would try to stop him and tells him to stop playing dirty. Isagi then stands motionless before punching him in the face, sending him to the ground. Keep your filthy paws off me, you mutt. Isagi then turns to Igarashi. You're one of the worst. No, you're the worst one here. Isagi sends the ball in his direction and it perfectly curves around his head and nails Kira in the face. The time limit then runs out. Wait, why me? Because I've seen you play. You relied on your teammates to score against my team, as I scored alone, as I always have, because I have the ability to do so. You do not. Ego then kicks Kira out of Blue Lock and out of Team Z. The next day on the outside, we would see Itoshi being interviewed by the press. There's only one striker in Japan who I would wish to play with, but I believe he hasn't even graduated yet, let alone turned 18. Really? Do you mind telling me his name? His name is one that will not be forgotten once he becomes eligible to play for this shitty country. Yoichi Isagi. The interviewer then comments how that was the striker who led his team to the championship and then to regionals. It was a comeback, an amazing one at that. The comeback. Ah, yes, of course. That was the day me and him met. It is my fault that he was late for the game, but he said something that made me want to play with him even more. He said, even if I am not on the pitch, I win, as winning is everything. To lose is to submit to the will of another. Sei then gets up, leaving, as he sees the woman being interviewed about Blue Lock. I wonder, could he be there as well? It then cuts to Isagi, who was training in the facility while others were sleeping or resting. Ego eventually presents them with the matches they have to win to advance, as their first match will be against Team X. Team Z tries to decide who the striker should be, and Isagi says he's the striker of the team, whether they like it or not. They try to argue this, but Isagi says his orders are absolute. The air in the room becomes thin, as they would agree with him. Match day soon arrives as each team walks out. It begins, and the ball is passed to Isagi. 3 people from the opposing team rush forward at him, but his eyes begin to glow. You must think I'm an amateur because of this rank. He then breaks each of their ankles, getting past them into open space. But I'm much more than that. I'm the best damn striker in this facility. Isagi rips a shot into the top corner of the goal, making everyone pause for a moment. What the hell are you all looking at? The game isn't over yet. I haven't even scored a hat trick. Team X starts from the top and gets the ball to Baru. He tries to dribble through the middle, but the ball is stolen by Isagi. You're too simplistic. Isagi then heads forward, dribbling alone through the defenders and gets right in front of the keeper. He fakes a shot, causing him to dive, and then walks the ball in. Pathetic. Well, I did choose to start at the bottom, so it seems my expectations were higher than they should have been in the first place. Team X would try to go through the middle once again, but the ball is stolen by Isagi. He pauses for a moment as he sees someone else who wishes to get a goal. Fine, I'll give you one chance. If you miss it, I won't pass to you again. Isagi then floats the ball to the top left corner, where no one was. It was just open space. Suddenly, red hair was seen flowing from this area as Chigiri was speeding to the middle and takes a shot. It was blocked by the keeper, but someone was there to recover. What the hell did I tell you about missing a goal when I passed to you? Whatever. You all were born trash anyway. Isagi scores with a scissor kick and slams the ball into the back of the net. He gets up and slowly walks back to his starting position as Baru was dribbling and then realized something was off. The entire team was defending and not him. He was the only person who stood at the half-field mark. He could see Isagi just standing there, waiting on him to mess up. In this distraction, the ball is taken from him and passed to Isagi, who traps it with ease. He then flicks it over the head of his defender, causing Baru to sprint that way. He then tries to use his size to push Isagi off of the ball. What the hell? He's like a brick wall. Baru tries again, but Isagi falls and gets a free kick from this. You're such a damn animal, you know that? And dogs don't have any place in football, especially on the pitch alongside me. Isagi begins setting up the ball, as this will be the last thing before halftime happens. He then notices that some of his teammates were running into the box. Oh, there's no need for that, you idiots. I wasn't planning on passing. He kicks the ball and it curves into the top corner, giving him his third goal of the match. In the locker room, Team Z asks Isagi to pass the ball around. He only looks across from him at Bachira. Switch positions with me. Go to striker, and I'll get you a goal. Yoichi yells at Isagi, asking about the rest of them, but Isagi grabs him by the face and slams it into the locker. Watch your tone when addressing me. Isagi then walks from the locker room, and the second half would soon begin. Team X manages to score their first goal, as this shocks Isagi. Not half bad, but in the end, it's all still pointless. The game was decided the moment I put on my jersey. Isagi gets the ball and dribbles through the powerless defense once again, this time chipping it over the last defender. The ball floats in the air and lands right in front of Bachira, who was in position to shoot. Damn, the monster inside of me must really like this guy, because I'm all fired up now. He scores his own goal and walks over to Isagi. Good pass. Just make sure you're ready for the next one. Team X still can barely break through the defense of Team Z, as this leads to Bachira having the ball once again. This is pretty fun. He crosses through two defenders while laughing and scores another goal. Isagi looks towards him, saying Bachira is now allowed to do whatever he wants, as the rest of you can just sit back and play defense. They argue and complain, but the voice of Isagi cuts through the madness. I've told you what to do. Follow my command, as my orders are absolute on this pitch. The next time Team Z gets the ball, Bachira was surrounded, as he hears a voice in his head, and he passes it to the middle, near the top of the box. Isagi steps through the defenders, hitting a volley shot that goes through the gloves of the keeper. This gives him his fourth goal, and also ends the match, with the final score being 6-1. Isagi with 4 goals, and Bachira with 2. Bachira after begins to follow Isagi around the facility and hang out with him, and even trains with him. This all eventually leads to Team Z's next match, against Team Y. Isagi starts at half field with the ball, and passes it straight away to Bachira. Let's go, Isagi. Bachira dribbles past his first defender and sends the ball into open space. Isagi appears right there, but someone else was running with him. Iki Nico stood right beside Isagi, telling him that he's out of his shooting range right here. He then lifts his hair, revealing his eyes. As he looked at the face of Isagi, his expression remained the same, as he only side-eyed him. In one motion, he stops running with the ball, and Nico is left still running. Out of my range, you say. Isagi then shoots from way outside the keeper's box and still scores. Those eyes you possess are useless when on the pitch with someone who outclasses you in every way possible. Isagi walks back to his starting position, getting stares from everyone. His team complains that he doesn't pass, and he speaks up. Alright then, the rest of you can do as you please. Bachira, you could be striker. Alright. Team Z swaps around their positions, and the match continues. Team Y gets the ball and passes it around and makes it to the defense. Nico scores a goal and looks over to Isagi, ready to trash talk him, but he wasn't even looking towards him, only towards the roof of the building. He doesn't even care that his team just got scored on. Yoichi then walks over, grabbing Isagi by his collar. Why the hell didn't you help us defend? Why would I? I'm a striker. I left that job for the defenders, who are just pretending to be strikers right now. I wouldn't have either, if you guys would have just stole the ball in the midfield like I do, and then scored. Why you little... Isagi then grabs the wrist of Daichi, and punches him in the stomach so that none of the cameras could see. This caused him to now lean over the left shoulder of Isagi in pain. Touch me again, and I'll cut out your tongue in your sleep. Got it? Yoichi nods, and then walks away. Team Y would score another goal, and then play keep away with the ball until halftime. When in the locker room, Team Z wonders how they can turn the game around at this point. Bachira, with a towel on his head, says that he has an idea. Kunigami then asked him what it was. Bachira then pointed towards Isagi, who sat, not even sweating, just silent in the room. His arms were folded and his eyes were closed. As he would open them, noticing everyone staring at him. What the hell do you want? Kunigami then stated that he should go back to Striker and help them win. It's funny you believe I'm helping you. I'm only helping myself, whether you like it or not. I'll pass this selection and make it to the next and keep going forward. I'm going to run through this facility and defeat anyone in my way. Bachira stands up, putting his hand out to Isagi. Let's go kick some ass then. Isagi hits the hand out of his way and stands up. If you all want to win, just get me the ball. Isagi leaves the locker room and steps back onto the pitch with his team. Team Y starts the kickoff and the ball goes to Okawa, who then tries to step through the middle, but is taken by Isagi. You really need to pay attention to where you're going. Isagi keeps dribbling forward only to hear another voice. Maybe you should take your own advice. Nico and Okawa both then press Isagi while running with the ball trying to steal it from him. He keeps going forward with little trouble at all, as the keeper doesn't know what to do as he keeps getting closer. The opposing keeper then runs out and Isagi chips the ball over him for another goal. What a terrible defense. For a team that prioritizes counterattacks, you all are shit. Isagi then walks off with Team Y, angered at him. They ran back down trying to get the last goal, with Nico finding Okawa right inside of the box. However, it's stolen by Isagi, who then rips it forward to Bachira, who traps the ball and moves past the defense in front of them. All of Team Z and Y run down the pitch, and Bachira sends it into the box. Gagamura dives for a header, but it's short, as Yoichi says he passed the ball too far forward. Bachira shakes his head, pointing even further. That pass was made only for a true striker. Here is where we see Isagi pulling his leg back and scoring the final goal of the match, as this earns him not only a 7th goal, but also a hat trick in just 2 matches. Isagi walks back with his team celebrating, walking right through the team that he had just defeated as they sat on the ground crying or in anguish, or both. It feels good to remind trash where they belong, and that's off the pitch. The ranks between the groups then change after this, and Isagi is bumped all the way to 265, with Bachira now at 266. That night, Team Z would celebrate their 2nd win, but notice Isagi isn't there. Bachira tells them all that, don't even bother, he's training. Chigiri takes his time to ask Bachira what Isagi is like when he's not around the team, since he's the only one who's been around him, and Isagi doesn't seem to hate Bachira at all. Bachira laughs and tells him that he's amazing. Here, I'll tell you a story about the last time we trained together. This is where we would enter a flashback of only a couple days ago. Isagi was working on his technique when Bachira entered the field as well. How about some one-on-one? It's a waste of my time. You can't possibly get past me like that. Bachira bets lunch on it, and then he loses. Each time the ball is stolen by Isagi, who puts a little effort into it. Bachira was seen exhausted on the ground with his hands on his knees, looking towards Isagi. You're amazing. Let me ask you something. Do you want to rely on your allies to make your own goals as a striker? Bachira pauses for a moment, almost going with the first choice. But he doesn't know. Should he rely on his allies? Or should he be able to make his own goals? But then he remembers where he is. He's in blue lock. He must become a striker that can create his own goal at will. So he tells this to Isagi. Alright, get up. I'll show you something that may prove useful to you. This will turn you into the 2nd best player on our team. I'll only show you this once, so pay attention. Bachira stands straight up, and the training holograms would appear on the pitch. He watches as Isagi dribbles right through each of them with a combination of chaotic moves. It's a style that works perfectly with the personality of Bachira. Isagi then scores on the fake keeper and turns back to Bachira. Did you see it? Bachira nods and Isagi passes him the ball. Show me then. The monster on the inside of him begins smiling, knowing he's growing because of this guy. Who knew there was a player like this in the world? The flashback then ends as we see Bachira staring at his hands, remembering exactly how to replicate this feeling of chaos on the pitch. Team Z then gets word of their next match and begins preparing for it. Isagi doesn't participate in any of their team meetings or film watching. He continues only to train alone. The rest of Team Z makes a plan to stop the twins on the pitch as match day arrives after only a couple days and Team Z is ready to face their opponents. Isagi goes to the center of the field and stands with the ball, where the twins begin to talk trash on him. Isagi tilts his head back, glaring at them, which gets one of them to shut up. Something is off about their opponent. They just don't know it. Isagi passes the ball to Bachira, who gives it right back to him. Isagi begins dribbling forward with one of the twins guarding him. Sorry, but it won't be that easy to get past me. I know all your moves. Is that so? Isagi then shoots the ball, which would slam right into the face of Yoichi, the other twin, and it knocks him out. The play then stops as he's escorted off the field as he can't play with a concussion. Kisuke turns to Isagi angrily, asking him why he did that, but Isagi smirks. Why are you complaining? You still have more players than us, don't you? Isn't that right, Kuon? In the midfield, Kuon begins laughing, telling Team Z, even with one of their players down, they still have one more. The rest of Team Z starts to yell towards Kuon, but Isagi tells them all to shut up. He's just a pawn. He hasn't even scored any goals yet, so his plan won't even work. What makes him think he'll get past this selection? The play starts again when Isagi begins dribbling the ball forward and scores another goal. As Isagi walked down the side of the field, Kunigami asked him to give him a chance with the ball, as he only looked up at him. Will you score? Yes. Isagi then turns to Bachira. What do you think? Let's give him a chance. It might be exciting to see what he can do. Kisuke passes the ball to Kuon, who dribbles against his own team. Bachira and Kunigami stop him and pass the ball back up to Isagi, who is surrounded by 3 players. All of you have your heads way too high. Make sure you bow when in my presence on the pitch. Isagi breaks their ankles with quick dribble moves, knocking them down to their backs. He goes forward and then heel passes it to Kunigami, who stood right behind him. The taller player watched as the ball rolled towards him and looked up, realizing he was out of his shooting range. As he looked forward, the piercing eyes of Isagi commanded him to shoot. He swings his left leg and the ball goes into the top right corner. He shouts with excitement, walking over to Isagi, putting his hand out, thanking him for the assist. Isagi ignores Kunigami and continues to play. Even with Kuon on the team, it does nothing for a team who can't get past Isagi. In the final moments before half, Kunigami takes another shot but is blocked by the keeper. The ball was then seen in open space where Kuon would get it. He then looked up the field only to see Isagi in his field of view. The ball is stolen as he would dribble into the box, as this is where Kisuke steps up to stop his shot. Isagi performs a rainbow, flicking the ball over his head and his opponent, landing right back on his ankle, as he was now one-on-one with the keeper. Bow to me. My orders are absolute. Isagi breaks the ankles of the keeper, causing him to fall to the ground, and he holds the ball right on the goal line while looking down at him. Pathetic. As he would then score another goal, as this sends him into the halftime. In the locker room, Team Z starts to fight with Kuon. Kunigami stops Yoichi from punching him, and Isagi pulls the blonde away from them. Thanks for your help. Kunigami puts out his hand once again, but Isagi ignores him, and now sits on the chest of Kuon, who is on the ground. Don't you think it's an honor that you get to play on my team? So why betray my loyalty? You're supposed to be like a dog and listen. Kuon tells Isagi that this is Blue Lock and he has no authority. Isagi then laughs coldly, as no one knew what he was going to do until he punched Kuon in the face. Kunigami tries to pull Isagi off of him, but isn't able to even lift him. Wait a minute. Just why is he so heavy? Isagi keeps punching Kuon until blood was seen on his knuckles. Try that again, and I'll cut out your eyes in your sleep. Isagi gets up as they would head back onto the pitch and win the game with him scoring 4 goals, Kunigami with 2, and Bachira with 1. After their match, Isagi goes alone to continue his training, as later that night in the dining room he was eating alone. As he sits to eat, 3 people sit down with him. Zantetsu, Ryo, and Nagi sit down in front of him eating. Isagi ignores them, only looking down focusing on his food. Ryo coughs, but he doesn't even look up. Damn it. I know you see us. Isagi, still eating, asked them what they wanted. Oh, nothing. We just wanted to greet our next opponent face to face. You've scored the most goals for Team Z. You must be quite the striker. The best. That's impossible, because Nagi is much better than you. Isagi looks up and twisted his head around, seeing no one else in the dining room. Now he turns around and asks who? Nagi raises his hand while playing a handheld game. Isagi looks down at him and stands up. You're wasting your potential on someone like him. Ryo tries to argue, but Isagi ignores him, walking away, as he had already finished his food. Team Z would once again try to get Isagi to make a strategy with them, but he ignores him each time. Isagi goes to the training room when someone else would also walk in. Baru looks down at Isagi, asking what makes him so special. It's simple. Losing is not an option for me. Winning is everything. Baru then passes him the ball and gets in a defensive stance. Alright then. Show me, you peasant. Isagi sighs. What does that make you if I'm a peasant? 'Cause you're below me. I'm the king, of course. You're such a bothersome opponent. You're more like an insect. It doesn't matter how you oppose me. I'll still crush you. As he says this, Baru falls to the ground on his ass. What the? How did you do that? I've told you before. My orders are absolute. On and off the pitch. Isagi shoots the ball that goes into the top corner. Baru then looks towards him. He's a complete monster. There's no way he's just at rank 265. Isagi keeps practicing alone for the next couple of days, and soon, match day arrives. While suiting up in the locker room, Bachira tells Isagi that this is going to be a good match. Whatever, it'll always end the same, and my victory alone. Team Z heads out and gets in their starting position. Bachira receives the ball and looks up. Oh, not too bad at all. He combines different skill moves to get past his opponents as he floats the ball into the middle, where Zantetsu tries to steal it from Isagi, who would trap the ball with his chest, and scores even with 2 defenders on him. Isagi and Nagi lock eyes. Nice trick. Ryo, I want to do that. The rest of Team Z is confused until Ryo and Nagi duplicate their play. They score, and now it was tied again. Ryo looks to Isagi, who only stared towards Nagi. You'd be the perfect wing player for Japan. But I'm a striker. Huh. That's too bad. I already know who the best midfielder is, and he's waiting on me to complete this training. You could have helped us win the next decade of World Cups. Isagi gives the ball to Kunigami, who uses his size to then get through. He sees open space on the left side and sends it that way. Team V's defenders head towards the ball, but a red blur kicks it first. Chigiri looks up, seeing Zantetsu running with him. So, it's a battle of speed. Well, I've got you beat. Zantetsu steals the ball and sends it to the middle where Ryo was standing. After trapping the ball, he twisted his body only to see Isagi standing in his way. You think you're so special, huh? Let me show you how special we are. He attempts to run right by Isagi, who only sticks his leg out and gets possession of the ball. Who said I was special? Being special means you were born with skill and talent. That's where your assumption is wrong, you mutt. I was born with skill, but I also trained my ass off to be the very best. Isagi runs forward, breaking through the defense and shooting the ball. It travels so fast while in air, it goes right through the space between the keeper's gloves. Team Z was now winning once again as Nagi walked over to Ryo, as something was different about him. Hey Ryo, for some reason, I'm getting excited about playing football. This boosted the spirit of Ryo, who gave it to Nagi. The young prodigy dribbles right through Team Z and gets close to the goal, but passes to Zantetsu on the outside. Good pass, Nagi. Whatever, hurry up and give it back. Do not rush excellence. He crosses the ball over to Nagi, who scores with a bicycle kick. And for those listening who don't know what that means, it's basically doing a backflip while also scoring a goal. Everyone on Team Z pauses for a moment, realizing Isagi was the one who caused Nagi's true potential to begin awakening. Nagi himself would also note this and looks towards his opponent. Isagi stood there with not a care in the world at all. That was impressive, but let me show you what happens when I begin to take a match very seriously. The air on the pitch becomes cold and intense. Team Z felt so pressured that none of them dared to speak at all. Isagi gives the ball to Yoichi, who then looks up. He goes to take a step right against an opponent, but stops. He locks eyes with Isagi and passes it to Chigiri, who sprints off. Zantetsu runs with him, telling him that it won't be possible for him to beat him in a contest of speed. Chigiri then has flashbacks of his old team and the mental blocks that are on his legs. Suddenly, these mental chains are broken by the feeling of fear of disappointing Isagi at this point. Chigiri reaches a faster top speed and crosses the ball from the corner. Isagi jumps for it, but two others would jump with him. Ryo and Nagi try to get the ball midair, but they would notice Isagi rose even higher than them, as he only looked down at them. The skies are fit for those blessed enough to reach them. Isagi headed the ball into the back of the net, scoring the last goal before half. Ryo and Nagi both fell to the ground, looking up at Isagi, who had no expression on his face. He wouldn't even say anything. He only walked off into the locker room of Team Z, which would be completely silent. No one even wanted to say anything. Their break was running out, and they hadn't made any plans for the next half. Isagi stands up with a serious expression. Get me the ball so I can squash these bugs before me. In the final half, Isagi scores 3 more goals, giving him a grand total of 17 goals. Ryo, Nagi, and Zantetsu all lay on the ground in defeat. Isagi walks over to Nagi, putting out his hand and helping him up. You could become the best wing player in all of Japan if you were to follow in my footsteps. I already told you, I play striker. Yeah, I heard you say that, but you don't even know what that means. Do you? Until you face someone like me, you relied only on your natural talents. But while facing me, you begin to try even harder. Once you figure out the reason for doing so, come find me. Isagi walks off with Team Z, who would celebrate that night, as Isagi still goes off to train, even though they don't have any more matches coming up. Ego was watching him on the cameras and would only smile. His assistant comments on his work ethic, saying it's very impressive, and Ego keeps smiling. Right now, those in the top ranks are working as well. Isagi knows this and is preparing to destroy them while his team gets some rest. That's the difference between him and them. Isagi knows what he has to do to keep improving, as he knows he's not even at the top yet. That's why he enjoys being in Blue Lock. It would cut to Isagi on the pitch as he would smile after scoring multiple goals. The next day, Ego has them preparing for the second selection. Days of exhausting training go by, but this was nothing to Isagi, as he's put himself through way worse. Once the training was over, Team Z walked through doors and entered a brand new area with multiple people. The first face Isagi sees is one that turns to him in anger. Bachira asks why the taller player was glaring down at him, and Isagi only walked his way. "How have you been, Rin?" The two powerhouses stare at each other, and Rin looks into the eyes of Isagi with disgust. "I thought me and your brother told you to learn to play defense so we could be the best team in the world and dominate in each, field of play." "Shut up. I hate that condescending tone of yours. I'm a striker, and I'm much better than you." Rin goes over, picking up the ball, and dribbles it towards Isagi. Isagi would smirk, stealing it from him and nailing him with it in the back. "Still have much to learn before you can even kiss the ground that I walk on." Isagi looks to Bachira and Nagi. He waves to them, hoping they could at least stay useful as his pawns throughout this selection as well. And he heads in. Isagi steps through the doors, somewhat excited for a new challenge, but walks in to see a bland room. One of the panels in the wall opens up and shoots a ball towards him. He stops the ball with his chest and turns to the goal. A fake hologram keeper appears, and he scoffs. It's amazing. Ego thinks this will be a challenge. Isagi looks up and sees the time limit, and that he needs to score 100 goals within 90 minutes. He cracks his neck and his knuckles, and scores his first goal with ease. "Since I have some alone time, why don't we see if I can learn some new tricks?" Ego and his assistant watch on in amazement as Isagi scores his 100 goals within only 40 minutes. He walks through the doors with his eyes staring on intensely. Whatever he had just accomplished even shocked Ego as he gained a grin. Humans are quite interesting, especially within the way that we evolve when pushed to our breaking points. Isagi notices he's the first one in this room, and he has to form a 3-man team, so he waits until multiple people arrive asking him to team up. He tells them no. He sees them as worthless pigs just in his way. But as soon as he sees Nagi, he walks towards him. "Follow me, and I'll show you what you can truly accomplish when you let loose on a pitch. I hate that me and Rio lost against you. It was frustrating, but I want to find a way so me and Rio can beat you." Isagi walks forward, telling Nagi to follow him. "I don't care what reasons you have. Be useful to me when on the pitch, and you can do whatever you please. Isn't that right, Bachira?" From the shadows, he would grin, jumping on the back of Nagi. "So, he's on our team now." "Yeah, try not to freak him out." Bachira and Nagi followed behind Isagi, but he would ask why they don't walk beside him. "Sorry, but unless you want to have two eyes when you go to bed tonight, I'd stay walking behind him. Only those he deems worthy can walk beside him onto the pitch. I still haven't even got there yet, and you just got here. Just make sure you don't slow him down at all, or he'll get rid of you." They first walk into a room where they would wait for other teams. Eventually they would arrive, and Ego greets them on the screen. It's time to begin the second selection's third stage. Each of you in this room are a part of a 3-man team. In a match, you will have to earn 5 points before you are able to move on to the next part. The winning team will choose to take a player from their opponents and then move on. This will keep going until your team has 5 total players within it. This is a rivalry battle, and you will get to choose who are on your teams and who you face against. Isagi notes his rank has changed to that of number 1. Oh, it happened already. Isagi then overhears Rin saying he's going to crush his elder brother. Isagi begins laughing before walking over to him and looking that he was number 2. "There's no way you'll get a chance to do so. Have you forgotten who taught you how to play?" Rin scoffs, saying this is nothing like junior high at all. Isagi gives him a death stare as they would lock eyes. You're right. This is much worse than that. Because of the last test, I've evolved these eyes even further. This angers Rin, and the teams choose to play each other. The teams will meet on the pitch, as Isagi's team has the ball first. Isagi passes it to Bachira, who is confronted by Yoichi. Just give me the ball. I don't even want to do this. You're a weird one, but the monster is telling me that you're hiding something. So show me. Bachira does a combination of wild skill moves, breaking past his defender and getting closer to goal. Bachira is then confronted by Jubei. What a stylish move. He steals the ball, and Bachira looks back at him. Do not worry at all. Rin, I wish to take this one after we win. Jubei goes to dribble forward, but his heart sinks. It's as if everything went still, and he could only see one person on the soccer field. It was Isagi. The striker slowly stepped towards him, and his eyes pierced his soul. Kneel to me. Jubei falls to the ground, clutching his chest, finding it hard to breathe for some reason while in the presence of Isagi. Rin immediately tries to guard him, but he smirks. Just like old times. Isagi tries to break his defense, but Rin has improved greatly over the time that they spent apart, and he begins sticking with Isagi, not letting him shoot. Isagi, it's over. Rin sticks his leg out to steal the ball, but it's guarded well. Isagi then stops. I've learned something so crucial about myself that I somehow forgot or just didn't remember. I don't need anyone to become the best for Japan, but the players who already play for the country that are waiting for me right now, well, they're the perfect pawns for my ultimate victory. Isagi shoots the ball and it hits the top of the crossbar, and then it begins to float towards the middle. Everyone ran for it except for him and Rin. What a lousy shot. A shot? No, that was just a setup for a new star to arrive from the ashes of his failure. Rin's eyes widen as Nagi controls the ball midair and scores a goal with ease. I really like playing alongside Isagi. Rin watches as Isagi stands back up and walks away. And he rips the grass from the ground. He gets up with his teammate giving him the ball. Rin points at Isagi and shoots from the half-field mark. He scores and Isagi smirks. Bachira immediately gets flashbacks to his first game with Isagi when he did the same thing, and notes that Rin actually plays just like him. Bachira gets the ball and passes it to Isagi. You two can stay back for this play. I want to show them why I'm the best striker. Isagi runs forward, with all three of his opponents charging towards him. Isagi smirks. Let the massacre begin. He fakes a step over and crosses the ball to his right foot. Then he spins around another one and then gets in front of Jubei, who was the last one there. What an impressive style, but it doesn't compare to my own. Don't get ahead of yourself. There's a reason I'm ranked 1, isn't there? Isagi flicks the ball with his back foot, doing a rainbow right over Jubei's head, who wasn't expecting it at all. As soon as it lands in front of him, he then looks up. He goes to shoot, but Rin manages to get in the way. Not so easy. Right, Isagi? Isagi still shoots, but Rin is able to tip the ball a little bit, sending it off course. No, Rin. You were the last piece that I needed to win. Rin turns back, seeing the ball now in the back of the net. No, that's impossible. I tipped the ball with my foot. Exactly. You hit the ball just where I needed you to, and gave it a reverse spin, giving me another goal. You're just a pawn on the pitch right now. Can't you see? I'm using you like a puppet, and don't ever forget that's your place. Isagi walks back with everyone on the pitch getting chills down their spines just from watching him. He was no average striker. That was obvious. But he was more like an absolute monster. Within his own mind, Isagi thought to himself, from this day forward, those on the pitch will be devoured by my talent. Even you. say. So just wait a little longer for me. Rin places his head down, and one of his teammates would ask if he was okay. Even after all my training, all the hours I worked relentlessly, I still can't beat him. There's no use at all. Isagi truly is the best striker in Blue Lock. His teammates continue to watch the match, and they continue to play without Rin, leading to their loss, with Isagi with 3 goals, Bachira with 1, and Nagi also had a 1. Isagi looks down at Rin, noticing his pitiful state. There's no reason for me to take you with me at all. Hey you. Aoshi turns to the opposing team. Wait, me? Yeah, what's your name? Aoshi Tokimitsu. And sorry if I butchered the names, I don't even know them for real. You're on my team now. Let's go. The 4 walk off, and Isagi notes they're the only ones to have made it to the 4th part of the selection. Looks like it's going to be a while, so let's give the other teams at least a chance. I'll be off practicing until then. Isagi heads off, leaving the 3 of them to their own accords. Isagi stays to himself for a while until he's approached by one person during his training. No, it wasn't just one person. It was a team. Baru, Chiguri, Kunigami, and Ryo all walked onto the pitch. So, how about it, Isagi? Will you do battle with us so that we can claim Nagi? Oh, that's what you're after? Well then, let's get started. The match day arrives, and Isagi looks forward to the team right in front of him. Bachira, I'll let you decide this time who we take once we win. Really? Yeah, so go score. Isagi passes the ball forward to Aoshi, who dribbles forward. Wait, what should I do? What are you doing? What should I do? Isagi then looks back at him. Don't think about it at all. I'm your leader, so follow me no matter what. Isagi runs on ahead, being marked by Ryo. Kunigami steps forward towards Aoshi and tries to steal the ball from him, but it's heavily protected. What is this guy made out of, stone? I must reach Isagi. Aoshi blitzed Kunigami with his monstrous strength and ran forward. His pure strength was on full display now, as he passes the ball to Isagi, who has Ryo on his back. We're gonna beat you and take Nagi back. Who said he'd even want to go back? In just 2 matches with me, he's grown more than you could ever believe. Isagi then flicks the ball over Ryo's head and turns, seeing Nagi, who has it now. Sorry, Ryo, but playing with Isagi makes me want to be the best, more than anything else. Nagi dribbles through Baru and Chiguri, scoring an amazing goal. Ryo looks at Nagi, not even recognizing the player he was now, as he was completely different. No, he has to win no matter what to get him back. He's learned his own ego while being here as well. Ryo gets up, pointing at Isagi. This game won't be that easy. Chiguri passes the ball to Ryo, who dribbles forward. Nagi confronts him, but he gets past with quick skill moves. Aoshi steps up next, but Ryo would smile. Show me what you got. The ball floats over to the middle, where Kunigami stepped forward, threw Bachira, and swung his leg. The ball then goes into the top corner, giving this team their first goal. Kunigami turns his head to his team, and they get ready to play defense. Isagi smirks, giving the ball back to Aoshi. Find your own path this time. Lead our team with your own goal. Aoshi becomes even more nervous because Baru charges him. The two fight for the ball for a moment, but Baru breaks through, scoring another goal. Team White begins to celebrate, but Isagi's team watches him set up the ball once again. Can you pawns hear my voice? Listen to me right now. Do as I say, as my orders are final and absolute. Let's show our opponents true despair and devour the light that they're using to shine upon themselves. Suddenly, the demeanor of everyone on the team would change. Isagi passed the ball to Bachira and he ran forward with Nagi. The two of them were perfectly in sync without even knowing it as they continued to pass and then dribble. Here is where they get the ball in the open space. Chigiri goes for it, but Aoshi steps right through him, now smiling. I can see it. I can see the path, Isagi. He rips a shot, scoring a goal for the team. This continued on until the score was now 2-4. Isagi held the ball at half, with the other team, who looked to be exhausted. Beg for mercy. Baru begins to evolve and rushes in to steal the ball, but falls flat on his ass trying to get it from Isagi. It's pointless now. You're a fallen king, but thanks for keeping the Emperor's throne warm for him. Isagi curves the ball into the back of the net, with now Team Red moving on. Isagi points to Bachira and walks off with the rest of the team. Bachira looks down. I think it would be fun to see how the monster inside of you will evolve when playing with Nagi again. So let's go, Rio. This shocks the players and everyone else, but he would get up thanking his teammates, but he has to go now. The two walk off, catching up with Isagi and the rest of them. They were already listening to Igo's speech about luck and how Isagi is far ahead of any striker here. He understands the concepts and what he needs to do to produce his own goals at any point in time. Isagi is truly the definition of an egoist. But how will the ego of your team, Isagi, fare against these five? An image of 5 strong players appear on the screen, and Isagi wonders how good they truly are. Another door would open up as Isagi walks through first with his head held high. So that was his second selection. Just really a waste of my time, huh, Ego? The next one better be a challenge. Oh, it is, Isagi. How about a 5-on-5 match against these players who are among the top in the world? Get ready, because even someone like you should be challenged. Their team heads to the room where they can study each of their opponents. Leonardo Luna, Adam Blake, Pablo Cabazos, Data Silva, and their prodigy, Julian Loki. Isagi focuses on Loki. Just 17, and it seems he's that far ahead of me. How annoying. I'll crush him on the battlefield. For the days leading up to this match, Isagi was seen doing strength and balance training. He was rarely seen with the ball to his feet at all. Soon the day arrived and they would walk out to the pitch. Rio was happy just to be there and told Nagi that they'll win. He was ignored by Nagi as he was more focused on Isagi, and he walked over to him. Pass me the ball. You arrogant prodigy. If you're open and you look like you can score, you'll receive the ball. Nagi nods and they walk out seeing the team. Isagi walks right by them and says nothing until he's approached by Loki. You're different. I've actually studied you. Why didn't you play for Japan's team? Their U20 team. Why would I? I only wish to play for Japan's national team. So, I decided to come here instead. It doesn't matter what this program is. Japan will still not beat France, neither here nor on the World Cup stage. Isagi only ignored this and stepped into position. The match started and Isagi held the ball. Come forth and dance for me like peasants. Cabazos rushes Isagi only for his defense to be broken down. Before anyone could even realize, Loki appeared right in front of Isagi. I knew your weapon was speed. But what is speed when it can be outmatched by pure skill and control? Isagi flicks the ball to his chest and then smashes it into the net, scoring a goal from great distance. Not bad, but the next one is mine. Loki gets it and shows off his rapid-fire speed and skill, scoring a goal by blitzing through their defense. Rio and Nagi try to get past the defense on the next possession, but it's stolen by Blake, who then gets a pass to Luna. Another goal is scored, as now our team was trailing. They scored some more, with the score now being 3-1. Isagi sets the ball at half and holds it under his foot. So this is the world of the pros. Kind of pitiful if you ask me. Isagi then rips a shot from half, scoring his next goal. The opposing team commends this Japanese player, as it seems he's a prodigy that could even rival Loki himself. The next play, Silva tries to get past the midfield, only to be stopped by Isagi, who steals the ball. Luna steps to him, but he passes to Nagi, who gives it right back to him as they perform a 1-2. While running, Loki appears next to Isagi. Not this time. Who said I was the one who was actually going to score? Isagi flicks the ball over his own head, and Nagi rises to action. He volleys it into the back of the net, scoring their third goal, tying the game. Rio was at a loss for words. Why even bring him? If Isagi can utilize Nagi better than I can. This is when he has his own realization that the player that he needs to defeat is Isagi. That's the only way to get Nagi back. So when Bachira gets the ball in the next play, he passes it to Rio, who dribbles forward. Luna confronts Rio, whose whole demeanor begins to change. Get out of my way, you prick. He copies the dribble style of Isagi, getting past him. That's right, this is my skill. I don't have any innate talent, but I'm the most balanced player here in Blue Lock. Rio keeps heading forward using Isagi's style, and then begins to use Bachira's dribble moves as well. And then the strength of Yoichi, he tries to replicate that. But that's something more physical that can't be replicated. He then gets to the goal. He shoots, only for Loki to still block his shot with his feet. The ball seemingly lands in an open area, where no one could get to it, until Isagi appears. Just as I planned. His eyes now seem different. He scores another goal, and looks to Rio, who was on the ground. You're just a cheap copy. That's good to keep around, but I'll commend you on getting me that goal. Rio curses Isagi, but the match has to continue. The players on the opposing team go for an all-out attack through their defense. Loki receives the ball, only for Isagi to now step to him. The two begin running around every other player, with Loki not being able to shake off Isagi. Before he even realized it, he had dribbled himself into a corner. No, Isagi had made him dribble into this corner. Isagi would quickly jab at the ball, seeing an opportunity, as Loki megs him and steps into the box. Isagi only tilts his head back with a smile. Be careful, prodigy. You just entered his feeding ground. Loki was confused until he was pushed off the ball by Yoichi, who sprinted forward. Got to score. I don't want to lose. I can't lose. Everyone will be mad. I have to score. Score. Loki would catch up to him, but he isn't able to push him off the ball or anything. What is this guy made of? Yoichi goes for the shot, but is knocked a little off balance by Loki and Silva, who helped him out. The ball hits the goalpost and lands in front of Isagi. Blake and Cabassos crowded him, only to watch him not even touch the ball as he let it roll right under his legs, which confused them. Instead, the ball makes it to Bachira, who begins to smirk. I'm excited. I don't need the monster anymore. I have to leave it behind, as I'm going back to my own style. Thank you, Isagi. Bachira dribbles past the three of them and gets some insane combos while dribbling as he heads to score the final goal. Blue Lock's team then walks off the pitch and heads to the showers with their victory in mind. While sitting down, Isagi was smiling ear to ear. With these eyes, my victory can be written in any way that I can imagine it. As we now see, instead of the Emperor eyes, Isagi now has the demon eyes. Alright, so let's break the fourth wall a little bit here. This what if is based on Akashi Seijuro from Kuroko no Basket and his Emperor eyes. These eyes allow him to predict the movements of whoever he's facing on one-on-one. However, there is a movie right after the season ends where we meet another player with similar eyes. This would be Nash Gold, who has the demon eye. The demon eye is capable of predicting further into the future than even Akashi's Emperor eye. Unlike Akashi's Emperor Eye, which predicts the future of who he's facing in a one-on-one situation, Gold's Demon Eye predicts the future of everyone's movements on the court, whether it's an opponent or a teammate. Gold's Demon Eye is also even shown to have the capability to intimidate and even scare his opponents, as that's the reason for its name. That's all. I just figured it would be a great evolution for him, since he won't be given Metavision, but this is the same, if not better, based on its 1v1 prediction capabilities. But instead of calling it a Demon Eye, let's call it the Divine Eye, since Isagi basically has a god complex in this story as well. After having to study English for some days, the third selection will be complete, with their 5-man team returning to the main hall, where they were the first to walk in, and waited on the rest of the teams to enter thereafter. One of the teams catches the eye of Isagi, as Kunigami didn't enter with Chigiri. Instead, Ryusei Shido comes from the shadows. He walked over to Isagi, looking at him. "I've heard a lot about you. So, you're the one who claimed victory over the self-proclaimed hero." Shido goes to kick Isagi, only for him to duck and then punch him in the face, knocking him to the ground. Shido goes to get back up, only to be kicked back to the ground and put in a headlock. It becomes harder and harder for him to breathe, and Isagi stopped after hearing the voice of Ego. "That's enough, you lumps of talent. Any more, you'll be forcibly expelled." So, how was it, playing against the world's stars? Pretty difficult, I imagine. All the teams here lost, well, except for one. The team led by Yoichi Isagi was able to claim victory, thanks to his ability to visualize a goal deep into the future. I decided to send out a new challenge to the world. In 3 weeks, Blue Lock would truly be tested. The U20 Japan team versus Blue Lock's 11. If you manage to win this game, you'll steal the advantage of representing your country in the U20 World Cup. Ego then states that Seijuro Itoshi will be there for the U20 Japan team. He says a couple more things explaining how they cannot afford to lose here, and then talks about what they'll be doing next. Blue Lock is going to assemble a team focused around the following 6 players, as they are the top ranked. At the top, we have Yoichi Isagi. Next is Rin Itoshi. Following him was Shido, and the numbers kept going down. But Rin states that he cannot play on a team with Isagi. Ego doesn't care at all and tells him to figure it out. First, these 6 are divided into pairs, which will create 3 separate teams. The remaining players will choose their teams on which they will play on. Alright, now within the next hours you will choose your allies. Each team appears on the screen, with Isagi wondering who we should allow, but I guess it isn't up to him. He'll win either way, as he doesn't care. Later he's called into the room with the other 5, as Ego tells him everything relies on the players that they have on their team. The next day, it seems as many players have chosen Team A, based on the 2 best being there. As another thing to note, is that Nagi isn't on the list of the top 6 players, since he was replaced by Isagi. But we can say for story convenience that the teams are relatively the same. The next day, it was also shown who was picked, as the first match would be Team A1 versus Team B1. The players are then called out by random for Team A1. Nijiro Nanase, Yo Hyori, and Megami Bachira. The 2 teams meet up on the pitch, where Isagi waves to Bachira. "Don't disappoint me. I won't accept your failure here." "Of course, Your Majesty." Rin states to Isagi that this is where he'll get his revenge for being defeated earlier. He won't be beaten by Isagi again. After he beats him, his brother is next. Isagi scoffs and tells Rin that there's nothing special and that he's only a cheap imitation of what is true beauty on the pitch. Isagi turns, seeing their opponents, Ryusei Shido and Tabito Karasu. Their team having Shiguma, Saramadara, and Chigiri. The match begins, and Isagi passes to Rin, allowing him to lead the charge. Shido appears in front of him, and the two go back and forth in their battle for the ball and the next goal. Shido is still too much of a wild animal when Rin gets around him. Karasu could test Rin, making his dribble move slightly off to where his foot wouldn't reach the ball. Bachira steals it from Rin, as Isagi was right about you. He dashes forward where Chigiri catches up to him. Another speedster. I'll just show you how we dealt with Loki. Thanks to Isagi, I've evolved even further. Bachira becomes very serious as he breaks through the defense of Chigiri with no problems at all. One down, a couple more egoists to slaughter. Bachira gets right by Saramadara and crosses the ball over to Nanase. He does a 1-2 with Hiyori, and they get their first goal. Rin looks at Isagi, who basically hasn't moved from his starting position. What are you doing standing back there gloating? No one in this room can contest me, so why would I waste my stamina right now? You yourself hasn't grown at all. You still mimic my playstyle, as if it's your own. Rin scoffs, and Isagi gets closer to him. I don't think you realize it, but I'm the reason for your existence in the football world. Without me, what type of player would you truly be? Rin stops moving, thinking of everything in his life. The game goes on with Shido and his team missing a goal. Isagi leads his team on the counterattack and runs right by Rin, who still was standing still. Useless as ever, Sei would be disappointed. Hearing these words awakened something within him. Sei, that fake big brother, he abandoned me. For him. For Isagi. I'll destroy them both. Blue Lock is a place where these strikers can evolve. If I'm just a cheap copy of you, then I'll rewrite my own football history. I'll become an entirely new player with my own style of play. Everything around Rin begins to make sense as he explodes after Isagi, catching up to him. He grabs his shoulder and reaches for the ball, only for it to be flicked over their heads. That's right, Rin. Dance with me. Shido would also catch up to the two of them, and tells them that this seems like fun, as the three of them would try to get the ball, but the two of them end up dancing around Isagi, who dribbles right through them. All the other players have no idea what's going on. Even the two best strikers, under Isagi, guarding him, seemed to have a smile, as they couldn't do anything, but they were enjoying this. Isagi himself had a smile, with Bachira shaking at anticipation for what would happen next, causing Nanase to question this. That's right, you haven't played with him yet. This is the first time where I've actually seen him enjoy football. Isagi's divine eye allows him for this movement, but he knows his body still can't keep up with his mind, so he went for the shot. Shido dives in the way, only for it to be a fake. He then feints to the right and goes to the left, with Rin keeping up with him, with his mouth open like a dog. Looks as if you've gone mad trying to chase me down. Isagi then notices that Team B was surrounding him, not allowing him for a shot. That's strange, because I can still see the goal very clearly. Isagi chops the ball and gets it past Rin, who pushes him forward. Isagi still shoots, and it heads for the top corner. Chigiri uses his speed to alter the course of the ball, but the spin on it makes it end up on the right side in the back of the net. Rin looks at Isagi, who walks by him casually. To defy me on the pitch is the same as defying the divine scripture sent to you by a god. Rin, for the first time, sees the new eyes of Isagi and thought, I wasn't the only one who evolved here. For him to get even stronger? These damn egoists. He thinks of Bachira, Nagi, and finally Isagi. The next play, Isagi goes right for Shido. Thanks for gracing me with your presence again. Shido passes the ball off to his other captain, who takes it forward. Bachira goes to stop him, but Shido slips behind Isagi and goes to the center of the box. The ball is then flicked over the head of Bachira into Shido, where he jumps for it. Surprisingly, Hiyori and Nanase stop his shot, and the counterattack begins. Isagi gets the ball and passes it to Rin. Go, you rabid mutt. Two of Team B's players try to steal the ball, but Rin destroys each of them on the pitch. Karasu states to Isagi that he shouldn't have given him the ball. He'll destroy his style of play as he gets stronger. That brain of yours just can't understand yet. The two watch as Rin sends the ball through the keeper's hands into another goal. Before creation comes destruction. Team B watches as Rin yells throughout the pitch, "I'll destroy everything you hold dear, and then I'll obliterate your own ego, Isagi." The match continues, but there was nothing that they could do. There was nothing Rin could do as he scores another goal, making it match point. Shido couldn't even understand how they were being overwhelmed, so he decided to throw out a random shot, but missed. Bachira recovered, causing Karasu to chase after him. Bachira looks over and gives the ball to Hiyori, who battles with Chigiri. The two of them seem to be evenly matched, causing another pass. "You're pretty good, but it won't be enough to beat Isagi." Chigiri rushes after the ball, only to have it passed right to Nanase. He goes to dribble, only for Rin to steal it from him and go for the goal. His shot is blocked by Isagi, who is now mid-air. "So, Ego, if luck must be accepted, then it will be manipulated by me as well." Isagi performs a bicycle kick, scoring the last goal of the match. Everyone stood silent, looking at Isagi, who stood with nothing but confidence. Rin sat on the ground, declaring that it's not over yet. Isagi looks down upon him with his divine eyes and cracked a smile. "Keep dancing for me, you hell-born mutt." After the match is over, Isagi headed into the viewing room to watch his own highlights. He pinpointed some of his accomplishments, but mostly focused on more of his mistakes, even though they were small. He then went to one of the training rooms alone to prepare for another match that would be held the next day. Isagi, while looking at the digital goalie in front of him, would smirk. "I need more than that." Suddenly, at least 15 holographic defenders appeared on the pitch. "That's more like it. I'll test these eyes to their limit." The next day, he arrives on the pitch to greet Rin again. "I'll overwhelm you here, Isagi. Whatever, you mangy mutt." Isagi then turns to their teammates, Monk, Aryu, and someone else he doesn't care about. "Hey Isagi, don't forget about me either." Isagi turns seeing Nagi, Ryo, Gagamaru, and Yukimiya. "Really? That's it? Shouldn't be a problem for me at all. I'll defeat Japan's U-20 team myself. This now is just a training ground for me to master everything I know." Nagi and Ryo then state that this is their match as well. Isagi begins laughing as everyone on the pitch seems to be focused on him alone. This is good. It excites him. The match begins with the ball and Team C's possession. Yukimiya gets the ball and dribbles it forward, seeing Rin. The prodigy goes on to destroy his opponent, only for Yukimiya to throw off his center of gravity and then head forward. Looks like Mr. Number 2 can't keep up. "Just where the hell do you think you're going?" Rin catches up to him, and the two dance around the pitch. Yukimiya notes that he's improved drastically, within just a few seconds. How is this possible? While being so focused on Rin, another player takes the ball from him. It was Monk. "Looks like it's all mine." As he dribbles forward, Isagi steals it from him, knocking him off the ball with his body weight, and then dribbles into the opponent's half. Ryo and Nagi step to Isagi, who tells the duo to attack him. Ryo heads in first, and Isagi performs 2 quick elasticos, followed by a nutmeg to Ryo. "Nagi, he got past me." "Don't worry, I got him, Ryo." Isagi doesn't even look to Nagi, who tries to get the ball from him. "You know, Nagi, you've become boring to me. Your style is simple." Isagi then appears behind him, dribbling circles around Nagi. "If you had the drive to become number 1, you could rival many of the people here. But instead, you keep falling far below them. And that, well, and for that, I'll cast a judgment down upon you." Isagi nutmegs Nagi, kicking the ball through his legs and rushing forward. Yukimiya and Rin catch up to him, but he's basically jogging down the pitch. As they speed to get in front of him, he chops the ball with his left foot. This breaks Yukimiya's ankles, and he falls to the ground, but Rin saw through this and attacked. Isagi turns his body, and he bodies Rin to the side. You thought because I've switched to this foot that I can't take my shot that has a great distance. Well, you'd be wrong. I far exceeded those limits long ago. Isagi's aura flares up once again, and he shoots with his opposite foot to the top right corner. Isagi sighs, but this still isn't enough. I have a better idea. All of you peasants, stage a rebellion and attack the emperor. Yukimiya looks at Nagi and asks him, "What kind of monster is this?" Yeah, he really is. I've heard Ego say something like he's the real definition of what we're supposed to be, an egoist. Rin looks at Isagi with anguish, but Isagi can only smile. Pay attention, Rin. You'll get to see firsthand how I become the world's best. The match continues on, with Isagi and Rin dominating, with Rin scoring one of the goals and the other 4 are given to Isagi. Meanwhile, in a building, Seijuro, has declared he wishes to team up with a striker from Blue Lock as well. The matches are then said to complete in a couple days, and days later, Ego states that he will announce a team that will be challenging Japan. Ego appears to them in just a couple days to announce the team. Hello there, you lumps of talent. Football is about scoring goals as a striker, and at the center forward position, we will have Yoichi Isagi with an average of 4.1 goals per game. He's clearly the best finisher out of all of you egoists. His ability to see the pitch and manipulate the fate of the game and bring luck to his side will lead us to victory. Which is also the reason I will be making him captain for this match. How does that sound, you blood-born genius? Whatever. I didn't come to lead the team to victory. I came to Blue Lock in order to become Japan's best, so whatever comes with that is unnecessary to me. At goalkeeper, we'll have Jin Gagamaru. Your reflexes during a game are quite impressive, alongside your wingspan. This will make it much easier for you to reach either side of the goal within an instant. Our next 2 center backs will be Iki Nico and Jubei Aryu. Aryu will be fighting in the air, while also stopping a lot of shots with his leg reach. Nico has an extraordinary vision. Putting him at center back will allow him to see the entire pitch as it is. Now, for the right wing back, we have Chigiri, and the left, Bachira. Next, a player that will go from defensive line to the offensive one. Tabito Karasu, our defensive midfielder. Now, for the offensive line. On the right and left wings, we have Itoya and Yukimiya. Your 2 styles work well together and right off one another. And so, it will prove to be quite explosive during the match. Now, for the final 2 players that will push this offense to a new level. With great dribbling and even better finishing, we have Nagi Seijuro and Itoshi Rin. These are the 11 players that will change the football world under Blue Lock's name. Someone then asked, why don't they use Shido? And Ego explains that he has no chemistry with any of their players. Isagi then stood back up. Well, that's true, but I have a feeling it's more than that. Ego calls him annoying and explains that Seijuro had chose him. This angered Rin, but Isagi could only laugh at this lesser replacement. Oh, that's right. He also has a message for you, Yoichi Isagi. He does now. What could that pampered house dog want? He said he knows you're the best striker in Blue Lock, but he wants to fight against you to see how much you've truly grown. We then pan to Sei and Shido. So you're going to become my false replacement for Isagi. Make sure you dance on the pitch for me, like a good little egoist. Ego then begins the training regimen, which pushes every player to their limits. Rin seems to be working the hardest, since he's waited so long for this moment. Everything in Rin's life has scaled to this. This is the moment where he could shine. Isagi was actually nowhere to be seen around the facility, and while in his monitor room, Thierry walks in asking Ego what he was so focused on. He wasn't even paying attention to the training of the others. Instead, he was focused on one monitor. She looks at the monitor and was shocked. There alone, in a room, stood Isagi, being attacked by multiple holograms at once. He dribbled through them with ease, and each goal had 5 keepers. Isagi was smiling and kept performing incredible moves, one after the other. He then looked like a kid in an ice cream shop, full of happiness and joy while playing soccer. She would comment how impressive this is, and Ego nods. Truly, I could end Blue Lock today if I wanted to. I've even told Isagi that as well. He is the best striker in Japan. But he states that he wants to see how the others evolve, and that will push him to even greater heights than he can even imagine. Wait, you think he's the best? Here, I've comprised all of his goals into this short video. It's only about 7 minutes long, but watch it closely. After watching it, she was silent. I see. Ego then states that there's no doubt in his mind that the match will come down to Itoshi Sei versus Yoichi Isagi. Ego calls the team into a conference room a couple days later and speaks to them about flow. For example, he uses Isagi and plays the video of his goals and highlights. As you can see, he's in a constant state of flow. Instead of me explaining it to you all, I figured he may have words that your underdeveloped minds can understand better than my own. Ego gives the floor to Isagi, who sat with his foot on Monk's head. Alright. Isagi walks to the front and points to the screen, which displays one of his more recent goals. Ego calls what I do a flow. But he's lying to you all. They then turn to Ego, who is smiling from ear to ear. When you reach a constant state of flow, the name changes. You enter what is called the zone, where you play at your absolute best. Once you enter the zone, it's almost impossible not to reactivate it on your own. The flow state is inferior to me, as you can go in and out of it, but the zone heeds my commands and gives me power. Ego, I'm going back to the training room. I have more work to do. Ego lets Isagi into the other room with the other 11, asking why he doesn't train with them. Well, you all could train with Isagi, but that would be suicide for your bodies. Jinpachi Ego presses a button and shows them the clips from Isagi's last training session. No one in the room even uttered a word. Was this even training? It seemed more like torture, but somehow Isagi was a striker who smiled through it all. Match day arrives, and Blue Lock's team suited up. Isagi was at the last one to enter the room sporting number 1. Ego asked if he was ready and Isagi ignored him. They walk into the hallway where they meet with Japan's U-20 team. The first person Isagi walks up to is Sei, who would turn to him. The two actually smile at each other, shocking their teammates. Neither of them speaks, but Sei is the first to put a fist out, and Isagi bumps it. The two were finally reunited, even if this time they were just enemies on the pitch. Show me what you can do, you so-called egoist. You've sat up inside so much you look even more like a pampered house cat. The two teams walk out, and the crowd goes wild. Everyone was cheering for Japan's team, as they were the ones who would lead them to victory in this match and prove their worth. There's no way a team made of strikers who were younger than them could beat them. The commentators then note that the striker for Blue Lock's team seems to be Yoichi Isagi, another prodigy who's actually played with Itoshi Sei before. But why was he in Blue Lock? They had no answer, and this match was about to begin. Isagi stood with the ball at his feet. Sendo, the striker for Japan's team, told Isagi to relish this moment because it would never come again. Is that really what you think? Isagi then glares at him, sending chills down his spine, with Sei then giving him a heads up. You know, if Isagi didn't enter Blue Lock, he'd be a part of the Generation 11. This shocks the striker, but the match soon begins, and Isagi gives the ball for Nagi, who speeds forward. He's encountered by Teru. Out of my way, you egoist. Teru goes for the ball, but Nagi creates his own dribble style, using his unique control over the ball to get around him quickly. The commentators and the crowd begin to go crazy seeing this. Sendo goes over to help, and he tries to get the ball, but it seems as now everything stood still. Isagi glared at Sei, who did the same. So it begins. Doesn't this remind you of the days where you challenged me in chess? It does indeed, but this time it's different, Sei. Isagi then gets the ball from Nagi and dribbles forward, using amazing 5-star moves. Sei reads through all of them and sticks with Isagi. No, it seems it's very much the same. Sei quickly notes that Isagi was still pushing him forward, and he would smile. That's right, you barbaric mutt. Go ahead and score for me. Sei watches Isagi use his own strength and his body to turn away from the ball, blocking Sei off as well, which cleared a path for Rin to steal it from them. Rin goes forward, cursing each of them, and he dribbles through Haru, who can't even stop him. I'll destroy everything. Rin copies the missile shot of Isagi, aiming for the top corner. It seems it was going in, only for Oliver Aiku to head it out. Not today, you egoist. The ball bounces, and Sei calls his brother pathetic. You played right into his hands. Rin looks at Sei, noticing Isagi wasn't there at all. No, it can't be. Thanks, Rin. You're such a good little pawn, sacrificing your own goals for that of the almighty emperor. Isagi goes to shoot, but Aiku reaches out his leg to block. Not so fast, kid. Aiku then has his ankle broken, and he's brought to his knees by a quick heel chop from Isagi. Stay out of my way. Isagi then scores a top left corner shot and walks away back to his starting position with no celebration at all. Sei and Isagi look down upon Rin in pity, but Sei commands the play of Isagi. So those eyes of yours have finally evolved to play on my level. How interesting. Maybe now you're worthy of my passes, Isagi. The men in the commentator box state that Yoichi Isagi has just shocked Japan by scoring the first goal of this game. His dribbling and precision skills are that of someone who should be on the U20 team. Not only that, but his field awareness was quite impressive, and it seems that Rin Itoshi, the prodigy, has taken a liking to him. In the box, Ego was smiling ear to ear once again. So that's why you train that way. Some of the Blue Lock substitutes asked what he meant, and he explained what Isagi has been doing. Isagi has been preparing for this moment since the very beginning. He somehow knew that he'd play on a grand stage such as this. So it seemed he used Blue Luck to evolve to this level. His mind and body are now one. He's been working out his body and his mind ever since the first day he came here. Even I failed to realize how beneficial it is for a player like him. What you all are seeing right now is the best striker that Japan can afford to create. The U20 team gets the ball back and begins their own attack. Their three forwards press high using Sei in a passing triangle. Go dance for me. He sends the ball to Kento, who was even closer to the goal. Nico was in the back lines and lifts his hair and does a signature pose with his eye. Go. Cho is then surrounded by Karasu and Chigiri. Nico and Ryu switch positions, making it a three-man defense, as now Ryu was center. Karasu steals the ball, but later runs into Wakatsuki. So this is what Blue Lock has to offer. Not bad at all. Whatever you say. He flicks the ball over his head and lands into the feet of Chigiri, who takes it downfield. There was nothing but open space. Chigiri looks up and crosses the ball to Nagi, who traps it with ease. Aiku quickly shifts that way, Oh, hey there. Yukimiya gets the ball from Nagi's pass and dribbles it in towards the box. Finally, it's my time to shine. I don't think so. Neru and Naya surround Yukimiya, who scoffs. You 20 players are so annoying. Back to you, Bachira. He drops the ball behind him to Bachira, who wasn't that far away from the goal either. Hayate catches up with him and guards him close. But Bachira calls him boring and dribbles right through him again. Hayate keeps catching up with him and forces him to pass to Rin, who was in the center. All yours, so do something with it. Ren looks at his opponent, his brother. He begins to get flashbacks to them as kids, as that very day they met Yoichi Isagi. They were playing on their small club team that he had joined. Instantly, there was chemistry between the three of them. Isagi was a perfect fit for their duo, making it a trio. Their club team as kids ran a 4-3-3, the formation putting them all at striker. Isagi scored all of his goals so effortlessly. It didn't matter whether Sei passed it to him or not. Isagi always found a way to score. While me, I had to wait on his perfect passes. I had to rely on him. I was pathetic, and they knew it. Ren then accounts of the day that each of them went their own separate paths. Isagi began his own training at a high school team to become Japan's best, while Sei went overseas. And I was left alone. But that's right. They came back. It was a snowy day when the three of them met up on their old practice field. Sei tells each of them that he's given up on his dream to become the world's best striker. Instead, he wants to become the world's best midfielder. Isagi accepts that dream, saying that instead, he'll become the best. But Ren begins to argue with them. No, this is my dream, and I won't let you steal it away from me, Isagi. As if you can't even keep up with the two of us. This causes Sei to then tell both of them to put everything in line of a 1v1. Whoever wins will journey to become Japan's best striker, and the loser must become the best defender. We will rule Japan's football in all elements. Sei tosses a ball into the air, where Isagi takes it from Rin. He dribbles around Rin as if he was a kid still. There was absolutely nothing he could do either. Isagi then broke his ankles of someone he used to think of his younger brother, and then scored an incredible goal. Sei congratulated him with a fist bump, and he walked away, telling Sei that the next time they meet, he will be the best that Japan can offer. Sei looked down at Rin, who was on the ground crying, and scoffed. Do good to become the best defender. If you do not, you are truly a waste of our family's resources. No, I'll become the best striker. You've already lost, Rin, but if you somehow defeat Isagi in a match, I'll allow you to chase that dream that you so want. Sei then disappears, with Rin cursing Isagi's name ever since this moment. We move back into the present, with Rin not knowing what to do. No, I can't afford to lose here. Before he knew it, Sei was up close and stole the ball. You haven't learned anything. Come on, you idiots. Let's counter. Sei leads the charge against Blue Lock and passes it to Cho, who gives it right back to him. Sei dribbles into Karasu, who easily is overwhelmed by his skill. So this is the power of Itoshi Sei. Incredible. Sei steps in front to shoot, but Iki Nico stops him. This is all Blue Lock can produce? How boring. He curves it around Nico's body and scores a shot. Japan goes wild for their prodigy, who seems to be uninterested in it all. All of you are terrible, but it makes sense. You're only good enough pawns on this chessboard that can follow him. Ren was in defeat, and he sat there for a moment, which caused Ego to sigh. I had a feeling that something like this could happen. If he keeps this up, we will surely lose. Mikage Ryo, substitute in for Itoshi Rin. He nods and steps onto the pitch. Rin walks away with a defeated look. The two of them were right. He should have just listened. Ryo waves to Nagi and the two get ready. Isagi looks back at the players on his team and takes a deep breath in. This lineup, it suits us more. Now say, let's make this a battle for the ages. Isagi passes it back to Ryo, who looks around. Sendo steps to attack, but he's caught off guard by Ryo's instant flow state. The young egoist dribbles like Bachira and bodies him off the ball like Aoshi. He does a backheel pass to Nagi, who then sends it forward to Chigiri. He runs down and quickly sends it into the box. Aiku jumps saying it's all his, but mid-air, Isagi heads it in, scoring his second goal. Aiku wipes off some of the sweat and looks up at Isagi. You little rascal, I didn't even see you coming. It's alright, I didn't expect you to with those eyes. Fukaku, their goalie, then comments how Isagi is using their blind spots to orchestrate the perfect goal. At the same time, Ego was explaining it as well. Yoichi Isagi's true ego seems to be on full display. Puppet Master. The team celebrates another goal with Isagi starting to smile. The ball was picked up from the net by Sei, and he says without him, they would surely lose this match to Blue Lock, so start playing serious or he'll leave. All the players glare at their opponents and the match continues. The U20 team begins to take it more serious and launch a full-scale attack on Blue Lock's midfield and defense. They make it through with quick passes and great chemistry. Sei himself was at the heart of it all, and he passes it to Teru, who takes on a shot. Gagamaru blocks it, sending it to the side where Hayate would get it. In front of him stood Bachira, who would smirk. You're not getting by me. I don't have to. Hayate sends the ball right into the box, where Sendo jumps for it. Nico moves out of the way, saying, it's all yours now. Aryu jumps and gets the ball right before him. What a beautiful pass. Now, let's do a magnificent comeback. He passes it to Karasu with a header, who dribbles right by Sei, who didn't even defend at all. Blue Lock moves on quick for their counter, as it's almost halftime. He passes it to Ryo, who gets the ball right back to Yuki Miya. The players then show off each of their individual skill, and Yuki Miya forces his own goal. However, Fukaku hits the ball out of bounds. Blue Lock wonders who will take the corner kick in the final moments right before half. But Isagi steps up to do so himself. He places the ball down on the corner and rotates it slightly. What kind of striker would I be if I couldn't score from here as well? Isagi shoots it into the back post where it ricochets into the goal. The crowd goes wild for Blue Lock's hero, who has now scored a hat-trick right before the half. The two teams go into the locker room, where Blue Lock seems to be hyped for the second half. Isagi himself was even seen smiling, as he told all of them to calm down. It's not over just yet. In the U20 locker room, Sei states that he's leaving. Aiku tells him that they still have one other option, but he doesn't care. It doesn't matter how good Shido is, he still can't compare to Isagi, especially in this form. He truly is Japan's only hope as a striker. I plan to wait for him, to meet him on the grander stage, where we can play and win a World Cup together. Sei actually leaves here, and they're forced to bring out Shido. Blue Lock, upon returning to the pitch, looks around for Sei but can't find him. Isagi can only smile. So it seems that now, I'm deserving of those passes. Good. I won't let up then, as I know I can still reach even greater heights. The match starts, and Isagi will quickly get the ball. Shido attacks him, only to be brought to the ground by Isagi's dribble moves. Stay away from me. This is my victory. Isagi's eyes glow as he heads forward, with his team already so far behind him. The commentators would state it seems like Yoichi Isagi is going to face Japan's U20 team, all alone. How incredible! All of you are just so useless. Isagi dribbles right through Cho and Teru, flicking the ball over their heads. Next comes Wakatsuki and Hayate, but Isagi drops the ball off to Ryo, who gives him back a chip pass. Isagi controls it with perfection off of his chest and is then confronted by Aiku and Kazama. End of the road. You're right, it is. Isagi chips the ball to his left, where Nagi appears and slams the ball into the back of the net with an incredible volley. Nagi walks over to Isagi and Ryo, telling them good passes, as all three of them would high five. They then walk back to their starting positions, as this angers Aiku. All of these monsters. What kind of trap was that? The U20 team would try their best to make a comeback, but without Sei here to control Shido, he can't be brought out to his full potential. Time and time again, Isagi scores against Japan's best and does so with ease. He proves to the world watching that he truly is the best striker coming from Japan. The match against the U20 team would soon end with the score 6-1. Isagi scored 4 goals, with Nagi having 1 and Yukimiya also having a goal. We get this parallel of Jinpachi Ego and Yoichi Isagi having the same facial expression, as it seems the two of them were one and the same. Isagi here gets the same post-game interview with the reporter, asking what he would like to do next. It's simple. With my skills alone, I'll flip Japan's Football Association on its head. I'll lead Japan to victory. What's next, you ask? It should be fairly simple. I'm going to bring Japan a U20 World Cup with my goals. Alright, so here's basically where I plan to end it. I know I only made 2 extra parts, but right now the manga isn't really far enough for me to finish this series with the Neo Football League, and I think this is actually a good place for us to really take a break, or just to end it. Instead, I'll just be dropping more Blue Lock what ifs, so comment any that you wish for me to do. If you like this type of content on my channel, and you wish to see more, make sure you subscribe, because it really helps me out, and not only that, it helps my channel reach more people who like this content as well. My name is Zero, and I'll catch all of you egoists on the next one.